Thank you, Ginger, and thank you all for attending this webinar. I'd like to start by simply addressing a question that I think is on the minds of many of the participants, and that is, what are the ethics of conducting a random assignment study with a program that already has very strong evidentiary foundations? I think the key is to addressing this issue is really twofold. First, in the U.S. and in many local communities, we're only serving a very small fraction of the participants who might be eligible for this program. And in that context, random assignment is in my view, an ethical way of allocating a scarce resource. And the related issue is that if the program is found to be effective in improving outcomes in an independently conducted randomized controlled trial, it will lay a much stronger foundation for expansion of this program throughout the U.S. and in your local communities. So I think that the ethics are, in fact, solid in moving forward with this kind of work. As you know, the NFP has very strong evidentiary foundations, but questions inevitably remain about the degree to which the program can retain its impact when it's replicated in a variety of community settings. We, over the years, have taken great pains to make sure that the NFP is well developed in community replication sites, so that we're confident the program is on the right track. But until we have results from an independently conducted randomized controlled trial in community replication sites, we simply won't know for sure. And there will be people who will question the degree to which findings from trials that were conducted much earlier, trials that were conducted by someone who was aligned with the program, could apply in a broad policy context in today's environment. So, I've taken the position that we really have a responsibility, a collective responsibility to put this program to a really rigorous test in community replication sites around the country. If the program produces the kinds of results that all of us hope for and believe that it will, then we will be in a much, much stronger position to make a case for further expansion of the NFP and to use Medicaid as a source of funding for it. There's another important issue having to do with knowing about NFP impacts, and that is, to what degree does it affect preterm delivery and newborn health? Because the trials that have been conducted with the NFP so far have been too small to detect important outcomes on these types of effects on these types of outcomes, we're really uncertain about the degree to which the program affects preterm delivery and newborn health. Very large samples to be able to say with certainty whether the program is really affecting these really important health outcomes. And again, if the program affects preterm delivery and newborn health, we'll be in a very much stronger position to advocate for expanded funding for the NFP. And the other piece is that this study will create an opportunity to do really rigorous studies of the extent to which the program reduces healthcare encounters for injuries and ingestions, and especially hospitalizations for injuries and ingestions in the first year of life. And it will have large numbers with good outcomes with good measurement of these outcomes. There are some people who would argue that you don't really need to use random assignment for the evaluation of big programs like this that are being scaled up and spread out. And I really don't believe that's right. Anything short of randomization is likely to give us the wrong answer. The NFP has a history, a reputation for having been based on the very highest scientific standards. And I think that we collectively need to continue to support work that's based on these same standards of evidence, and when this work is conducted by independent investigators. I think that we need to get as many NFP sites to participate in this study as possible, because larger numbers will mean that we'll have a greater likelihood of being able to detect real NFP impact. If we have too few participants, we will not be able to detect modest or small effects that nevertheless may be really important from the standpoint of the U.S. domestic policy agenda, and that may have big impacts on cost. The larger the number of sites and participants, the greater the scientific integrity of the study. So, in my view, participation is both ethical and it's a really important part of a larger strategy to expand the program, to lead this field of work in the 21st century.